Hi Collective, welcome to the channel. I'm Crystal and this is Goddess Guidance Codes. So we're gonna get started on some cards here, see what's coming out in the energy. Right, we're right at the end of March, but all readings are timeless. Okay, and trust whenever you're guided. Certain things can be unlocked for you just within this reading alone. Like I've got certain healing frequencies going on. I'm hearing modalities. I'm not sure what that means. I get different words that come through in a channel. But I've got all sorts of different cards, right, that are filled with codes, and I'm going to get more back into my oracle along with tarot. I was taking a break for a little while and focusing a lot on tarot as I was going through some integrations and some healing, but I'm going to be getting back into more of the oracle, so you can get a lot of things activated, a lot of guidance, codes, all sorts of stuff, right? Okay, so I've been feeling this green frequency. Okay, so there's definitely like a heart healing that's going on. Also, we've had a nervous system upgrade that was going on as well. Those cards jumped right away. Everything is significant. The Devil, Seven of Pentacles, and the Magician. I feel for some of you right away that there's the Devil's had some sort of stronghold on you, kind of blocking your magic, blocking your manifestations, because maybe you were manifesting these things, okay, or creating them. Like, this may look like you're seeing a lot of people getting blessed with the things that you've been trying to project to you, but they haven't been coming to you. Okay, and I know that I often say a lot of times, like, that's the first step of manifestation. But really, when you see that, like, your magic is working, because it's like if you don't feel worthy of it, and a lot of times you don't feel that you're worthy of it when you're starting to practice things, okay? But you'll see others starting to get, you'll start to see like others getting blessed with these things, and then you just, if you were to realize that that's how close you are to bringing it into you, that the people around you are getting blessed with it. Do you need some water? Okay, so, but that's how close you are, okay? But for some of you, it's like something was pulling on your wounds where you didn't feel that you were worthy of it. Maybe you felt as though you needed to wait here with the Seven of Pentacles. I remember I used to be like, no, don't bless me with certain things yet until I get things right. Because I remember thinking for a while, like, my children need to be humbled, okay? Because I always expressed my love with my children. Like, Leos love to give, like to celebrate and give gifts and parties and make big deals out of everything. So I always spoiled my children by always gift giving and always giving them all of the things that they desired and they wanted and they longed for, right? And then I was realizing that they were just starting to expect it, you know, as like, that's what moms are supposed to do. Moms are supposed to go all out for the holidays and the birthdays and everything, that the little things that I would do started to not matter to them. They just started to expect them, you know. Especially when I was a homemaker home with my children, they were like, oh, well, you know, mom's a homemaker, she's at home, so she should be doing all of the cooking and the cleaning and everything. Like, literally, like, my children would get up, go to school, like, they would come home, their beds would be made, their rooms would be clean, they're cleaned up, their clothes would be done. Like, I wouldn't ask them to do anything because I was like, well, I'm at home, you know, they're kids, let them just have fun. But I wasn't realizing that I wasn't teaching them chores and responsibilities and things like that. And then when I started to impose chores for them to earn things, they took it as that, but they didn't understand that then they didn't get rewards for them when they turned into punishments and stuff. And it's like, I was realizing that I was losing like my respect that I was getting from my children. Like, they weren't seeing it as that. Wow, I don't know why I'm going into all this. But and then it was really, I was having to like step back from how I was doing things. Like, it was really hard to not get everything that they want and desire, and to not, like, it's tough being a mom having to be like in raising the children basically by myself, right? Because yeah, I had boyfriends and stuff, but they didn't want to get in the nitty gritty and all of that, you know. So it's a lot to be in that feminine and masculine. So for a while, it was like I had trouble doing that balance, you know, and especially with multiple children. Like, that's why some of my children would be like, why is it when mom gets upset now everybody's punished? Because it's hard. You can't just go from like happy, sad, happy, mad with each child, different things, and then each child learns off of others, and it's just like, I can't say that that was always the best. I mean, I didn't do that all the time. I tried different ways to heal, you know what I mean, different ways where sometimes the whole family would be punished. They were all other times not. I don't know why I'm talking so much about this, but for some of you, like, you know, they were woundings too, and I felt like a lot of the woundings too was like me. I was working through like a lot of my wounds too, because like I didn't have the big parties and the celebration. Basically, it was just my parents raising me. We didn't have the family, you know. Everybody was very distant. Both my parents were kind of black sheep, so we moved away. So it was basically them just raising me, and they didn't do a very good job, okay, because they were so focused on their own problems and insecurities, right? They were always focused on their fighting between each other, that they didn't have time for the family and stuff. So I got left a lot, you know. So a lot of healing is what I'm getting at, you know. Whenever I'm talking about like my stories and situations, this is like the guidance that you get over here, because I feel that a lot that are struggling moms and stuff and going through things are going to get aligned with me. What else is slipped over here? King of Cups, Knight of Swords, and Nine of Swords. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not. This deck got mixed up. While I'm finishing up here with what I was saying, I'm going to fix these cards. So what I'm getting at is it's taken somebody a long time to heal and establish those boundaries, right? Like I really needed to heal those wounds from within myself, right? Before I could work on being a better mother, right? And that's why, like, parents, they do the best that they can, you know. And there's no rule book. Every child is different. And you being the parent, you know the best way to handle your child, because they are you. They're a piece of you. And they come with all of the trauma and the wounds already packaged up when they come here, right? Especially because everything that is a wound within you is encoded in your children. So you know the best way to help them overcome their things, whether they want to listen to it or not. And I know teenagers, they get that. They brand new energy, right? They come out, they brand new, they're the newest version, right? They know how to handle everything. They don't want to listen to the OG. How they handle things, especially in today's times, right? Oh no, we don't know how it is now. And I get it, there are things that are a lot different, right? But just there's this energy of just healing where I was going with this energy is I was like, in a way, like I was like holding back my success and stuff, because I was just like, if everything was to pop off the way I've seen it, the way I envisioned it, if everything was to go to like my highest timeline, then I'm like, but my children, they would just get pushed forward into all of this. They wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I always knew that I had a lot to address with family, home, my children before. Or I would just have to back, you know what I mean? I knew that me launching everything, but then them not being ready for it would still. So for some of you, that's what's significant. Like, you were holding yourself back because you knew the timing wasn't right. You knew there were certain things that you needed to overcome, that you needed to handle. Okay? Just like, that's why I said I'm so thankful that my children have got to be humbled early in life and got to experience certain things. And now I know, you know, I've just already seen just in the last couple of years how much they've grown up. And I know every child grows every year, but I mean just the things that they've seen, the things that they've experienced, Um, you know, it's opened their eyes. It's allowed them to see, you know, both sides, right? Like, everything, you got to look at everything happens the way that it should. Like, you really are always where you're supposed to be. And it's like, I know children don't like to hear it, but they need to remember that their parents are in charge, whether you feel like they are or not. There's something I've been thinking a lot about too, is like telepathically, like there's always a connection, right? Like a mother knows when her child needs them or is hurt or whatever. They just feel it. They know. There's always that connection, whether you listen to it or not. I mean, the more intuitive you are, the more you heighten your skills and your abilities, the more you're going to be attuned to it. But it's like that mother's instinct too, like mother knows, right? Because you're connected, like you're always going to have a hold a little bit over them, whether you realize it or not. That's why it's really important to heal those wounds that you may have with your mother, your father, or just have forgiveness, knowing that they did the best that they could, right? So maybe forgiving them will stop having them send projections and stuff like that your way, because it very much does hold impact. And a lot of times, whether children will say it or not, they always do look for the validation of their parents. They really want to hear that they're doing good, doing well. They really want to know that their parent approves of their decisions, who they're with, what they're doing, whether they really realize it or not, because everybody really is where they're supposed to be at all times. Who they're aligned with, whether as a parent you like it or not. That is who your child's aligning with, because that is their vibrational match frequency. That is the soul mate, soul friend, you know, that God has aligned for them at that time to kind of be their soul partner, their destiny helper through life. Because when you can't be there, they're going to have friends, they're going to have lovers, they're going to have people with them, because we're never alone, right? And you can't always be there. And a lot of times friends and lovers can teach those lessons better that you couldn't, right? Or that they weren't seeing. So you need to know that. And I know that we always want our children to have the best of friends and the best of lovers. And we have these envisions of how maybe we want our children to grow up and live and be. But you got to realize you can have those, but you can't interfere with their steps, their progress towards that, or you're just holding them back. And a lot of times those wounds, it takes children to grow into adult lives to overcome some of those wounds that their parents have put upon them, because they pushed them under the rug, they don't talk about them, they don't give them enough support or acknowledgement, and especially the ones where there's strife and things like that within the family. Like, you need to realize, like, if you don't like who your child is aligning with, you need to know they're aligning with the reflection of who they are. So that means that your child is struggling with all of those things, that person is aligning with them, that you weren't there to help them through that. But if you really look at it, it's probably a lot of the same things you did, or the same woundings that you had to make your child have a lot of those woundings, if you really look at it, if you really go deep with it. So, you know, the fact that you couldn't step up and handle it, now your child's aligned with somebody because they have that same trauma and they've aligned with somebody. But that is a destiny helper, that is a match, that is somebody that is supposed to, that God is aligned, the source is aligned with them to help them through that situation. So that's why I always say, like, you should never interfere with who people are with. Do not be gossiping. Shh. Do not be projecting things on your children or on anyone. Be careful what you say. You gotta be love and light. Okay, now if you don't feel that this is you, then you're just here for the rest of the reading. That's going to reach who it's meant to, right? You know that. Okay, so there's this freeing energy, right, where, like I said, there's this big clearing that's been happening in nervous system upgrades, as I was talking about. There's a lot of adult children, a lot of children that are now are adults, right? Maybe children too going through this thing as well. But I feel that a lot of these woundings are closing. that have had these strongholds, right, over them. So it's allowing for new levels to be reached. Like I said, there's this big heart healing. What's interesting too is the frequency that I chose for this reading was 528, whole body generation, full body healing, emotional and physical healing. So that is what's going on in the background within this reading. And then I felt guided to the green cards. I've been feeling this light teal color, which is more throat chakra for me kind of color. So maybe you expressing what you need to say and feel like. And a big thing is like forgiving yourself and knowing that you've tried your best, right? It's like if you ever question whether or not you're doing a good job, that means you've already tried your best, because you're sitting there questioning it, you're thinking about it. So even if you didn't, the fact that you're thinking back at it, that's accepting that it changes it. It's kind of like the I'm sorry, you know, like when people sometimes they do things because they act out because that devil energy may take a hold, right? But then it's like when you start to feel the remorse for that, and you start to feel I'm sorry and that sorry energy, that's your way of offsetting that energy and then releasing it. So maybe for some of you, you need to accept somebody's apology, or maybe you need to say you're sorry. So we're just acknowledging where you're at, loving yourself. It is beautiful. And maybe for some of you, you've reached this energy in Nine of Cups where, you know, you can forgive people without getting those apologies. I know sometimes saying sorry is the hardest thing for people to do, especially if they've never expressed emotion. I know I was shut down so much as a child, not ever being able to express what I wanted to say. My emotions, like in my adult life, like it's made it extremely difficult for me, and it's a huge warning I've had to overcome. To be able to stand up and say, like, to be able to express my emotions and feelings to my lover, like, it's a lot. And just recently I've been having to do that a lot, because and I just feel, and even my lover's like, wow, you've never talked to me like this before, you've never told me how much you appreciate. Like, I thought he just knew because of the affection that I could show him and the gifts that I could get him, and because I was so much in that Leo energy, I thought he knew how much I love him because of like the thought that I would put into gifts and what I would do. But I think he just, people's love language is different. Sometimes people need to hear it, right? But when I've been telling him, like, just, you know, me realizing that I wasn't expressing a lot about how much he meant to me, all those little things, the things that I see all the time, just like how he'll drop anything he is doing to listen to my children. I could be in the middle of talking to him, my child starts talking, interrupts us, and he will shut me down to listen to our child. And that's any of my children. Or it's like even in the middle of the movies, right? The other night, phone's ringing, it's like, answer that. Like, no, it's just to answer. Like he always thinks of my children first and puts my children above me and him. And it's just kind of like, we've only ever been on a few dates, and we've been together almost 4 years, because we always put our children, my children that he's taken in first, right? And that's where I was finally like, oh my gosh, like I just finally was starting to see a lot of the things, like, and I didn't always tell him that stuff because I thought maybe the simple seeing the smile on my face that he was acknowledging our children first, right? Or it's like anytime one of them would want for something, we'd go and get it for him, and things like that. Like, and even though I would sometimes just say thank you, you know, it's just saying thank you sometimes just gets so overlooked because it gets used so much that sometimes you really need to hear somebody really express sometimes how much they're grateful and thankful for, and all of the things that they do, right? And I know that devil energy gets in, and it may have people get in and act out, and especially people drink and especially can't control those hidden emotions and feelings, and may act out and act like a child. And if you really look at it, it's often people acting like they're children, acting very childish, right? It's important to have forgiveness, right? And, you know, and it's more important when somebody takes responsibility for it, too. Like, it's a big thing, you know, when somebody can admit that they They messed up. They were influenced by something, because people use alcohol and drugs as a way to escape reality and a way to numb out pain. And a lot of times you may think that somebody, they just went and drank or they went and did this because they wanted to fight or they wanted to be disrespectful or whatever. And no, people use it as a way to escape reality when reality starts to be too much. And I'm not saying you should do that because especially if you have suppressed emotions, it makes them come out. Not in a good way because it numbs you, disconnects you from source. So it often makes them come out especially if you're suppressing anger and rage. And then you're opened up to lower vibrational frequencies. Then you don't got that high vibration, right, where you're connected with source. So you got the earthly realms and jealousy and envy and all of that, and all those lower vibrational energies can take over, right? But a lot of people don't know that, don't look at it as that. That's why I say that the liquor, that you're feeding the spirits is what it is. You're feeding, and those spirits are manifestations. Demons are dark emotions manifested into the physical in the mental realms rather, to control your mind, to make you see things, to make you feel like, say you had a fear that somebody is cheating on you or hurting you. Then once you drink, then that entity that's created due to your fear and your anger, it's going to want to fight it. And then you could see someone talking to somebody and then they could just be saying like, hi, what time is it? But in your eyes, it might be, oh, you're pretty done. You know what I mean? You may see things that aren't that. And then all of a sudden fights are breaking out and everything. You know what I mean? That's what I don't like. It lets the dark emotions run rampant within people's mind state. So, that's why I say, like, yeah, you can drink when you're celebrating, you're having a good time, it's a celebration, but still be careful. But that's what I mean, like, not everybody realizes that they suppress, and I get it, like, people, even though they have dark emotions may be hidden, they still feel that energy, like, I deserve to have a good time, I deserve good, you know what I mean? So they don't realize, but then once they do, and then if somebody is hosting demonic energy and has because demons are manifested, you create your own demons, right? And they can possess you and take you. It's really taking over your mind. It's depending on the person and how much dark energy they're holding. So, it's at 10:36. So, maybe for some of you too, like, there's just this release of emotions, healing these wounds and traumas. All right, I'm gonna get out of that energy. How long did I go with this? I don't even know. I can't really see. All right, I was trying to get into the cards. I feel like this is just gonna be some advice. I'm gonna restart another one with some tarot because I feel like I'm like 30 minutes in on this one. So this is just going to be some advice here. Some of mine are just advice channel messages, whatever my spiritual team wants to come through, because I'm very much connected with my spiritual team and guides. A lot of times they have ancient teachings and different things that they want to come through. So sometimes you may see, like, they know I'm connected and tapped in once I touch my tarot, oracle decks, whatever. So sometimes my readings are literally just like this. But that's why I always try to upload in a few. So for those of you that do like the cards, on the collective energies, that you can take a look at those, right? But I'm very much more than just a tarot card reader, as they are just a spiritual tool for me. That's why I've seen a lot of advancements and changes if you've been with me for a while. So subscribe to the channel if you're still here. Energetic frequency, or your guides aligned you with this for you to get this message. All right, love and light to all of you. Bye, guys.